Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
Blowing snow and icy roads are making for some bad travel conditions, and because of the weather, there have been several car crashes in the FM area. It's been a blustery, snowy day in the valley today, and it doesn't seem to be letting up yet. Thanks for joining us tonight. Valley News Team's Giovanna Simic joins us live in Fargo to give us the latest on road conditions. Giovanna?
Thanks, Stephanie. It's been a rough day for drivers today. It's not just the wind, as you can see, but I was driving on University Avenue today, and because of the icy roads, it was so hard for braking that there was no traction. Now, I did speak with Moorhead and Fargo police earlier this afternoon, and Moorhead police told me that they got 8 calls since 8 a.m. this morning because of all the accidents, while Fargo got 7. Now, I did check the DOT map earlier. Road conditions are getting better in the Fargo area, but there's still some areas where there's blowing snow. For example, on 45th Street and 52nd Avenue, the visibility is so bad because of the blowing snow. Now, since the driving conditions are bad, you got to make sure you plan enough time for wherever you're headed, and give enough time and space between you and the vehicle that's in front of you, and remove yourself from all distractions like texting. Reporting live in Fargo, I'm Giovanna Simic.
All right, Giovanna, be safe out there. And you can get the latest on the current road conditions online. Just go to our website, valleynewslive.com, and click on the weather tab, then road conditions. Well, hopefully the snow and that wind will die down tonight. Let's talk to Hutch Johnson to see what we're in store for. Hutch?
Well, the early evening commute and any plans that you have outdoors tonight are going to be impacted mainly not by falling snow on the radar. As you can see, there's not much of that. In fact, we have some clearing skies up to the north. It's the gusty winds over 40 miles per hour throughout the afternoon, especially in the Sisseton Hills, southeast North Dakota, the Cheyenne and James River valleys, seeing very gusty winds causing blowing and drifting snow and dangerous wind chills already in the mid-20s below zero in the far northern Red River Valley. And visibility impacted, especially once you get away from the buildings. Look at that 1 mile visibility or less in and around the Fargo Airport at Hector. In town, it's not as bad, but get in open country, it can be very difficult to see. Take a look at that live sky cab. You could see just how difficult it is to see. Temperatures will fall out of our above zero readings to below zero. Dangerous wind chills, gusty winds overnight. Suffice it to say, another night to stay by the fire if you can and bundle up. We'll have details on a chance of snow and another wave of Arctic air heading our way here in just a few moments. Stephanie?
Yeah, get some hot chocolate and go by the fire and just relax.
I think that's great advice.
All right. Thanks, Hutch. A West Fargo man is in jail tonight facing a number of charges after police say he ran a stolen car into 3 other cars, then ran off. Investigators say 23-year-old Ryan Love was involved in a shoplifting incident at a store in Moorhead and was driving very fast on 8th Street when he hit the cars in 2 separate crashes. The final crash was just south of the I-94 interchange in Moorhead when Love went into the median. Police say Love then ran but was caught a short time later. He's facing 5 charges in Moorhead and will be facing charges in West Fargo as well. Tonight we have some new information regarding the death of a man following a Christmas Day fight outside a Crookston, Minnesota bar. John Torres of East Grand Forks died a week after allegedly being beaten. His widow now says she's received the name of the man responsible for his death. Valley News Team's Neil Carlson talked with Rita Sines on phone today, and she's in Crystal City, Texas. That's where Torres was buried in his hometown this weekend.
Rita Sines says John Torres died on New Year's Day after being beaten outside a Crookston bar. She says Torres died from a brain bleed a week after being taken to Altru Hospital in Grand Forks. Sines had lived with Torres for years and had 4 children with him. They plan to be legally married this month. But a fight outside this Crookston bar ended all that. Sines says she now received the name of the man who beat her husband via a Facebook message. We're not revealing the suspect's name since he has not been legally charged with anything.
She has said that he was bragging about that he assaulted a man outside the Crooks bar, and he works at American Crystal Sugars. And once he found out that my husband passed away, that he stopped talking.
Police Chief Paul Biermeyer says they've interviewed everyone involved in the incident. However, he's not releasing any details, and no one has been charged yet. Biermeyer told me today he's turned all the information in this case over to the prosecutor's office. It will be up to them to determine if any charges are filed in this case.
They still have not arrested anybody, and so my question is why?
It's a question that won't be answered yet. It's been a long-standing practice here of no comment on active cases from the prosecutor's office. In Crookston, Neil Carlson, Valley News Live.
Officials won't comment on this case, but sometimes in cases that rely on the stories of witnesses and very little physical evidence, a grand jury is convened to decide the level of charges in a case. Also new to report, we now know the names of the 2 children involved in a deadly snowmobile crash yesterday. The North Dakota Highway Patrol says 10-year-old Mason Moen died in the crash. A GoFundMe page was created to cover funeral expenses. It's raised more than $15,000. And 9-year-old Brody Johnson from Hatton, North Dakota, was also involved in the crash and was seriously hurt. He's at Sanford in Fargo, and his condition is currently unknown. But his GoFundMe page has currently raised more than $4,000. The Highway Patrol says the boys were driving in a field about 4 miles northwest of Hatton yesterday when the driver lost control, jumped a roadway, and crashed. The Highway Patrol isn't sure yet which boy was driving or if they were wearing helmets. If you want to help the Moen and Johnson families, you can go to our website, valleynewslive.com, and then click on the link attached to this story. As our cold weather continues, it's important to know the dangers that the weather can bring. Frostbite can happen within minutes for skin exposed. Doctors say watch for skin coloring to see if it's being affected. Infants should not have a snowsuit or on in between them and their harness and a car seat. That's because they could actually slip out of the car seat in a crash. And before sending kids out to school or out to play and have a good time, check that all their winter gear is dry.
Even if it's damp or wet, it's going to pull in that cold and freeze, actually. So you always want to make sure to start with dry stuff. So always check your children's stuff at night, just so that everything's ready for the next day and dry.
Now, if you have dry skin, doctors say it can be treated with a cream or ointment lotion, which can be bought at most pharmacies over the counter. Today marks National Human Trafficking Awareness Day, a proclamation made by President Obama in 2012. Human trafficking is as much of a problem now as it's ever been in history, and it's not just overseas. Our Washington Bureau's Peter Zampa spoke with officials in our nation's capital working to combat the criminal activity.
It's barbaric and horrific, yet human trafficking continues to thrive across the world. The Department of Homeland Security is working to raise awareness that this is not just an issue on foreign soil.
It's 2016, and there are anywhere between 21 and 30 million boys, girls, children in slavery. That's outrageous to me.
Maria Odom works at the Department of Homeland Security and is the chair of the Blue Campaign, a DHS effort to combat human trafficking.
We've been working to raise consciousness about the fact that human trafficking does occur in the United States in the form of commercial sex trade, domestic servitude, and forced labor.
Last summer, lawmakers passed a law that makes it easier for law enforcement to bring human traffickers to justice. But Congressman Hurd says there's still a lot of work to be done in Washington.
This is something that promoting the awareness of this, but making sure we're doing everything that we can to ensure law enforcement is working together to stop this despicable practice.
Odom says her campaign is working with law enforcement training centers to provide advanced training for detecting and reporting human trafficking at home and abroad. In 2015, Immigration Customs Enforcement arrested more than 1,400 individuals for human trafficking.
I think that there has been an awakening to the problem of human trafficking, and the communities are finally accepting the fact that this is happening in our own backyard.
The Blue Campaign has formal partnerships with more than 15 companies, cities, states, and countries. The campaign just formalized a partnership with Washington, D.C. this morning. Reporting in Washington, I'm Peter Zampa.
Now, to learn more about human trafficking or to report such activity, you can call the number on your screen. Don't